Whoa, where are you going? Hey, Alycia.
Fast.
No. Hey, you can't go back there.
I have to go.
You promised, Mom. Alycia.
You make promises all the time. Nick, lie down!
I'm an asshole. Okay, but listen, Alycia, if you leave, you won't come back. Please.
You let Mom go.
Not safe. No, Matt is not safe. Okay. No, Alycia, you don't get what it makes people do. You don't know what I have to do, Alycia. You don't know. Matt will hurt you. He'll kill you,
No, not now! Not now! Don't do this to me, Nick! Not now! Don't you do this, you stupid son of a bitch!
Have a seat. Thanks, everybody. That was such a nice round of clapping.
Thanks.
Congratulations on Fear the Walking Dead, one of the most highly anticipated shows I think of all of television forever.
Yeah, I mean it did all right. So
were you nervous going into it? Were you nervous about sort of making sure that the fans, the rabid fans of the original series and the comic books were going to be pleased? Was that on your mind at all?
When we first started, it wasn't on my mind. I kind of just was like, oh, it's a job. Thank God someone wants to employ me. And
were you a fan of the original series?
I didn't. When I got the gig, I started watching it, and then I became completely obsessed with it. And I did like all 5 seasons in like 3 weeks or so. Yeah, it was a lot of binge TV.
Did you have nightmares? Did you have zombie nightmares or anything?
When we started filming, I started having a few kind of weird dreams. Not nightmares, but like strange dreams.
What do you think is scarier, zombies or vampires? I go with zombies, but there are 2 of them are the sort of on my scare list.
But like a zombie you can kind of maybe run from quicker
Yes.
than you can a vampire.
Vampires, I think they can just appear as bats places.
And
or
I don't
something.
like flying things. Like bats flying around, don't like that.
Well, let's be real. Bats are scarier than vampires.
Yes,
the animal incarnation
but then,
of a
like
vampire.
the bat then becomes the vampire, doesn't it? So it's like one and the same.
It is the same, but when the bat turns into the vampire, I'm kind of like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, it's not scary now. No. Yeah, I get maybe actually a zombie because you know then it's like a human really. Like you could be your neighbor, and you're like, "Whoa, that's not cool."
So you get this gig, you get this gig on Fear the Walking Dead. What kind of conversations are you having with the creators? I mean, I know that they changed the name of the character, right? For you, is that true?
No, when I was first testing for the show, the scripts that you get so they don't get leaked to the public have like dummy names, so like fake names. It was Ashley. My name was Ashley when I was first reading for it. And I was like, oh, Ashley, like that makes so much sense. That's cool. And then when I was reading the actual script after I'd gotten the job, it was Alycia. And I was like, what a coincidence.
Were you kind of like, guys, I'm not this
No,
person. Don't write me to be this person.
I didn't even think about it. I just kind of was like, oh, cool, like that suits her. And it was spelt slightly differently, so I didn't even think about it. And now I'm doing this like promo runs, like press stuff, and everyone keeps asking me about the question. I'm like, this could get a little awkward. So I mean, it feels different for me, but yeah.
So you have in the show, you have a drug-addicted brother who we've just seen you saving from seizing on the floor, and you have a sick boyfriend who we don't necessarily know what his sickness is, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, for her, she just thinks he's probably got a bad flu. And it's confusing, like, why is everyone telling her to really, like, get out of the room?
But he's most likely turning, right?
I mean, you'll have to wait and find out.
I thought you were leading me down that road. You were like, well, she doesn't know, but we all know. No, but
well, I mean,
knows.
obviously they think something's up. You know, and they've seen the most, so you're probably, you know, worth seeing their advice instead of mine. But yeah, the dangerous thing with like this show is that it isn't clear at the start. You know, people are just getting sick, and it's not clear-cut symptoms of, oh, well, that's a walker. It's, you know, your neighbor or like your boyfriend. Yeah.
You don't become a walker until it's too late.
Yes. And let's hope that doesn't happen to me too soon, because then I would be dead on the show.
You've been acting since you were 8 years old, right? You started in Australia?
Yeah.
When did the move to the States happen?
I moved to the States when I was 18. So I finished school, high school, and then I just kind of decided to up and leave. And I was here for about 6 weeks, and I was it was just all tunnel vision. I was just like, well, I just have to like go and just be there, and that's where I'm going to be. And I didn't know anyone. I had no friends. I had like a manager there. That was it.
You were in LA?
I was in LA. And then luckily I managed to book a gig, and so it sustained me to then move back to LA and actually try and give it a good shot.
What was that gig?
It was a horror film called Where the Devil Hides, which I don't know where it is. I don't know what happened to it.
Whatever, you got paid, right?
I got paid. I mean, hey, it was amazing for me. It was like I was this 18-year-old that was just like, wow, I've got like a gig in the States, and like it's a lead role in this, like, and it was like a good kind of moderately priced indie film. It's just though a lot of the time that stuff never eventuates into anything. But
it's got a great title, Where the Devil Hides.
Where the Devil Hides. It went through about 7 titles. I remember, like, because they market different titles for audiences, and you know.
So you're 18 years old. You're the lead in this horror movie. Is it like a slasher movie? What is it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a paranormal like thriller type thing.
Mm-hmm. Were you at that time seeing that maybe you would have a career acting in a number of kind of paranormal or zombie or horror
absolutely
movies?
No clue. I was just
You're like that's it.
In
this
fact,
is over.
That was so not what I ever wanted to really do. And so it's hilarious how it seems to be the theme now that I've carried through so far, like doing post-apocalyptic style genres, not to mention especially horror.
Well, I would say the good thing for you about Fear the Walking Dead is that it's not so specific to the genre. I mean, it is walkers, it is zombies, but it is also a family drama, and there's a lot of human drama there.
Exactly. And I think that's why this one is... I was so attracted to the script too, is because it is like a family drama to start with, and you do become very invested in the characters straight away. And I... like it... because it does give me anxiety watching horror films. Like, I get really uneasy about it.
Really?
Yes, so much so.
let me ask you a question. I had this conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago. What was the first horror movie that you remember giving you, or movie giving you a kind of horrific anxiety?
Oh, I remember. I was 11, and I was like going to a sleepover with like the kind of, you know, the popular girl at school, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm going, and we were going to watch a scary movie, and in my head I was like, yeah, we're going to watch Jaws, and instead we watched Chainsaw Massacre. And like,
first one?
Yeah,
like
the first one.
The original from the 70s?
No, the new one. So it's like all kind of gore that you could pause, like fingernails, like ripping from people. Like, oh God. And I remember I was kind of fine about it, and then my mum picked me up, and she was just like, what? They let you watch that? And like, it suddenly came crashing down on me that I was like I was ruined, and I'd never sleep again. And I became traumatized for like a year. And I remember not being able to like watch any horror films since then. And I was like the lame kid in like year 7, like 13, that would go to like a scary movie sleepover and like sit in the other room because I could not do it.
Oh, those kids were the worst.
I was that kid.
You were the worst.
I was the worst kid. But like I could not sleep. It was like, so that's like, it severely scarred me, and now I'm on Fear the Walking Dead.
Your mother's really the one that traumatized you, though. It sounds like the movie was fine.
The movie kind of didn't affect me.
No, you're scared.
Yeah,
get scared,
until I was
and
like,
you like lost it.
And I think it was because, she was like, that's, you know, the worst, that was banned in the United States at one point, and I think she was referring to the 70s version.
Referring to the 70s version, yes.
Anyway, so that's my story.
So at 18 years old, you leave Australia. You have tunnel vision. I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to be an actress.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Was there anyone trying to stop you, or was there just full faith in your ability to do that?
It didn't come out of the blue. My parents had sort of expected it for a little bit. It wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, oh, I'm going to be an actor. And they were like, whoa, let's have a think about this. You know, I'd been doing it since I was young.
Too late, bought the bus ticket, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to fulfill my dreams. But they were supportive, but I look back on it now and I don't really know how I did it. Because I did find myself in awkward situations. Like I didn't have a car, I didn't drive, I didn't know anyone. Like I was sort of making friends along the way, and like a lot of those...
The people on the bus? What were you doing?
Yeah, I took the bus for a year the first time I was out in LA. So it was a very, and like staying with weird, like different people and different, on couches of friends, you know, it was a very unique experience. But now, when in the time, like it was the only choice I had, you know, it was just that or nothing. That was it. So I just did it. But yeah, looking back on it, I kind of, there was some moments.
Did you find that you had been acting since you were 8, right? So you'd had the audition process a little bit in Australia. Did you find the LA process was different? Was it more grueling?
People warned me about it for a long time, and I got there, and it just, for me, it didn't really change. I think if you go in with the same principles, then it shouldn't change that much. I think there's a difference in hype and hustle in the United States. There's like a kind of a grind that really happens. And if they're interested in you, you see it straight away and you start seeing the results immediately. Like the next day you'll get a call. Whereas in Australia, it's like weeks past and you're like, hey, did you ever like watch that tape? And they're like, oh yeah, well the director kind of pulled out and it's not happening anymore. And so it's a different type of...
I feel like that happens here too.
It does, but there's so many more opportunities. There's so much more to fill in the gaps anyway. Yeah, so not really. But again, I was just tunnel vision. Like it didn't even matter. It was just, to me, it was just like, all right, on to the next one.
And what was the show that you were on just before Fear the Walking Dead? The 100, was it called the 100?
The 100, yeah.
The 100, excuse me.
No, I keep saying the 100 too, and then I got like a little, it's the 100. No, I still can't get it right.